Hello and welcome to the Afri Dominion Show. My name is Freeman Singirankabo and welcome to our show today, the Afri Dominion. And thank you so very much for those of you guys who have found some time to joining our program today. In particular, if you are joining us live from the social media like Facebook and YouTube, welcome. We are so thrilled and so excited that you can find some time out of your busy schedule and tuning in. That goes the same to those of you guys who are joining us live from televisions and radio station. We truly appreciate the time that you give us each and every day that we have our broadcast, because without you guys, we will be doing nothing. Because we want to make sure that we communicate with you. We want to make sure that we pass on some messages, not just any message, but messages that are relevant to your lives, messages that are important to you, to the things you subscribe to the things that you spend your quality time with, to the things that you believe in. So we want to make sure that we become added value to you each and every one of the days as well. For those of you guys who haven't been really following much of our program, we are so excited. We are so excited. In particular, we are excited because we are able to reach a very niche audience of our brothers and sisters all over the planet. In particular, those of you brothers and sisters from Africa, African brothers and sisters and African descendants. And this is our time where we get an opportunity to link up with you guys, to voice your own opinion, to discuss the things of which are sometimes a little bit of an ease to voice it out, especially if some of your experiences have been extremely tough because of many reasons of which you have no control over. And with that in mind, I want to let each and every one of you know that when we here at Afri Dominion, when we airing our program, we are led by the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks by which we would love each and every one of you guys to measure both the content and the validity of everything we get to share with you. See if you can actually subscribe to what we are saying. See if you can believe in what we are saying. See if you can be a part of it and come and join us as it happens. We would very much love to have you guys come on board, come and meet some other brothers and sisters who are actually working very tirelessly to ensure that our voices are actually heard beyond our villages, beyond our regions, beyond our countries. Because in this forever world that is so well connected, it's very important that you have some sort of a footprint on planet Earth in terms of influence, in terms of your culture, the real you. So we want to make sure that we get to do our due diligence as well, get to do what we have to do as well in order for us to participate in the betterment of our own world, our own villages, our own communities, our own families. And with that in mind, we would very much love to hear your comments. We would very much love to link up with you. And the very best way that we can link up with you guys is you going straight to our website, which is afridominion.com or www.afridominion.com. From there, you get an opportunity to see, to find our contacts, to link up with others who are working with us, find the like minds, those that you can actually get together with and stir up your brain, stir up your creativity, and make something happen. Don't just sit down and do nothing and wait for some foreigners out there to come and bless you or to come and do what you are supposed to be doing yourself without anybody having to actually say, go and do that. Are we together? And with that in mind, be sure to also shoot us a message. We are so big in this whole electronic world. Gone are the days where you can just grab a piece of paper and write to us and send it, even though we still receive these letters. But we prefer electronic letters. We prefer email. We prefer text. We prefer this modern way to communicate because not only they are efficient, but they are way cheap. Remember, we are the stewards of resources around us. And what better ways to learn how to be a good added value, a good steward, than you starting from your own selves? And that is why we say that we absolutely welcome each and every one of you guys who can, who would love to link up with us straight from the website. Right there, you can have our phone number, you can have our email, you can have our social media handlers, and you can actually meet with us straight from our live platforms. For instance, right now we have Zoom open in real time here at the studio, which means if you want to have a saying in what we are doing, in what we are sharing with you today, you can just link us straight. There's no need for you to write right after the show. As long as it's live, you are more than welcome to come and participate. Not only that, we actually have put together the program in a such way that not only we get to share a message with you, but we can actually also receive a real-time feedback so that we don't have to wait another day to go review what you have to say, even though it's still welcome all feedbacks all the time. We're together. And so with that in mind, what is Afri Dominion and what is Afri Dominion Show? I always start from there because I believe that for those of you guys who are not familiar with what we do here, it is only fair that you get to know, hey, what are these guys up to? So that you can actually decide right up front whether what we are doing, what we are spending our quality time with, it's something that you see yourself being a participant. We do not want to waste any of your time, any of your time, the same way we would not want our own time to be wasted. However, we have not only taken our time, we have taken our financial resources, we have taken our creativity, we have taken so many things that we believe in to make these shows happen. In particular, a huge thanks to networks that are broadcasting our messages. Guys, it is so expensive. It is extremely expensive to broadcast these messages. So we do have our partners who are actually helping us broadcast these messages on television, on radio station, and also on social media. This work does not do itself. It requires a lot of manpowers behind, a lot of resources behind. And not only that, we are fortunate enough that we are able to actually share in the cost of broadcast, which is why we keep on saying to you guys that if you do find a program that if you find that these programs that we're sharing with you guys, you like them, they mean something to you, we would love to receive your hand as well, your help, because we are totally responsible for the broadcast of the entire program. This is not a free broadcast. This is a paid broadcast. So we get to cover all the cost, and we would love for you to come and help us out. But not only that, we also do have some works that we do in the background. We don't just talk. There is time for talking, there's time for broadcast, and there's time to actually take in action what we are talking about on air. We get an opportunity to go behind the scene and actually make it happen in real life, which is why we encourage each and every one of you guys to come and meet other like minds, be a part of the projects that are underway, being worked on as it happens. So what is Afri Dominion? Afri Dominion, it's an idea that inspires, advocate, help, even take a part in the changing of our motherland, of our Africa. Helping in taking back the full control, the full dominion of Africa and African resources by its sons, daughters, and African descendants, all from one country at a time. And why, you may ask, for the purpose of being, for the purpose of safeguarding our own interest as a people, and for the continent as well. So we want to make sure that the continent, African people themselves, they have some sort of interest that actually goes back to them. And of course, we know that we are not the only one who live on planet Earth, but we want to start from us. We want to be able to be the direct beneficiaries or beneficiaries of everything that we are doing. And then we can also go beyond Africa and help or bless the rest of the people. So the show itself is a mouthpiece of that idea. Here at the show also, you can expect that we are going to pass on programs of which are inspiring, of which are advocating, of which are literally helping and being a direct participant in the changes and changing or taking the whole entire control of Africa and African resources by the African people, you sons and daughters, kings and queens of Africa. And for the best interest or for the interest of our people primarily, our continent, our villages, our families, first and foremost, before everybody else comes along. This may sound like we are super selfish, but we want to make sure that we actually bless ourselves before we go bless somebody else. Especially right now that the Africa continent, it's literally on fire. Not even figuratively only, but a whole lot of things in Africa are just not in the right place. Oftentimes because we are no longer there to be the one in charge, to be the one doing what we're supposed to be doing, to advance, to better our own communities, our own families, our own nation. So we want to make sure that we actually go back and start replanting the seed. Go back and make sure that the duties, the responsibilities that have been trusted or entrusted to us, we can actually go ahead and take them back. We know it's not easy. It might sound so easy when we talk about it, but there has to be some sort of action. There has to be some sort of results that have to actually echo or show that what we are saying, what we are talking about, it's actually what we are putting in action as well. So, and that's why we keep on saying to you guys that there's time to talk, there's time to air our programs, our conversations, and then there is the other time to actually put in action whatever it is that we are proclaiming publicly. Are we together? And with that in mind, here at Afri Dominion, we have, given the scope of everything that we do, we've taken it upon ourselves to actually dissect our shows into themes. We have 5 major different themes that we follow every single day. These 5 different themes, they correspond to the numbers of days that we broadcast. We broadcast from Monday through Friday, which means on Monday we have a unique theme, Tuesday we got a unique theme, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now that theme that we have, it may have many programs that are confined to that specific theme. Now, this is not to say that these themes also exhaust everything that there is to do when it comes to Africa and African people. It is just one way that we have taken, or one approach that we have taken in order for us to stick to the messages, in order for us to actually dive into some of these issues of which we care very, very, very deeply about. So with that in mind, let me share with you those themes. On Mondays, we talk about the eradication of African refugees and stateless persons. Minding you, we're only focusing on Africa and African people. And that is not to say that we do not acknowledge or that we do not know that the rest of the world is going into chaos. But like I say, if I cannot start from my own family, how can I dare coming in and start with you when I cannot actually show to you that, hey, I'm actually, I know what I'm talking about. I've been there before. I've been the guinea pig of what I'm saying to you. And here are the results so we can be able to share. So that's the reason why we focus primarily on Africa and African people. I'm African. So if I'm going to go ahead and preach something, but you cannot see it in my life, then I'm an imposter. I'm only acting. I'm being a hypocrite. And we don't want to do that anymore. We want to talk the talk and walk the walk. And we want you to go ahead and actually verify that independently verify that. So on Mondays, we talk about the eradication of African refugees and stateless person. Tuesdays, we talk about the Constitution, law and policy review and implementations. On Wednesdays, we get to talk about our history, our life experience. We get to talk about it and we get to write about it, meaning we're writing our own history. Why that's important. Africa and African people have such a rich history, except that history has been purposely buried. It is very few people on the whole entire continent of Africa who actually know the true and complete history of Africa and African people. And it's pretty sad. If I cannot tell where I came from, my past, and if I have very, very fuzzy knowledge about my present, how can I dare say that I know where I'm headed? So right now we've taken it upon ourselves to actually to bring back, to resuscitate our own history. Which means we need all of you guys who are older. Don't just depart without actually sharing with us the past, the history that you walk with every single day. It's imperative that we revive our own history, and we get to exchange, we get to teach, we get to share it amongst ourselves. Then we can actually know how the present is constructed and how we can navigate the present and even become huge added value so that the future will be brighter than what it currently is, because we lack a huge piece of information that has yet to be reconciled with everything that we do. On Thursdays, we get to talk about the spirit of dominion. This word, dominion, 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 we love that word. And I know that most of you guys have no idea what that is. You may think that you do know, but you may not have taken the time to actually to scrutinize the word, to get to know why do we care so much about that word. On Friday, we get to talk about the current event and its impact towards Africa and African people. That's another one of the programs that for me in particular, that I love, because we actually, you get to set the agenda and we get to choose what we want to talk about. It could be something that is small in your own village that we simply want to raise an awareness over. We don't necessarily grab something from the mainstream media or something that's already known. We literally go dive. We go dive into stories. We go dive into what's happening in your communities. And we can say, hey, we think that particular information, it's actually going to be beneficial to other brothers and sisters all over the world. So why not share it? And with that in mind, you can be assured that you do not have to know me personally for you to share something that is important to the collective. We don't work like that, which is why we tell you guys, reach out to us. Go to the website, make sure that you have our direct contact, so that if there is something important that you have found and you know that it's going to be beneficial to other brothers and sisters all over, you get to share with us and we get to actually distribute it so they can have an opportunity to know what you're talking about and to have that message that you have that you have prepared for them. And so with that in mind, that's what we got going on. And our broadcast is usually between 12 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is Washington, D.C. time for those of you guys who do not know about it. So if you want to follow us in real time, you gotta come during that particular segment so that we can be able to exchange. Afterwards, our content is found on demand as well as on social media. So if you do not get an opportunity to follow us in real time, you can still tune in via on demand, which is one thing that's been really cool because those of you guys who are, who have jobs that do not allow you to participate in real time, you can actually tune in later on and have a saying in it, send us some feedback, the same thing that you would do in real time, except that right by, by the time you're reviewing the content, we probably have moved on to something else. And with that in mind, guys, today is Thursday, as you know it, and we want to talk about the spirit of dominion. And for those of you, I was just saying or telling you what is dominion. Because we are not going to pretend that everybody understands everything we talk about here. So, and it's only fair that we get to define what it is that we mean when we say dominion. And that's where I'm gonna start today, because today the show it pertains to that dominion. So when we talk about dominion, you as kings and queens, naturally you have the capacity to govern. You have the capacity to rule over this whole entire world. So when we talk about dominion, we talk about rulership. We talk about governing. We're talking about controlling. We talk about giving life to something. All those are some of the qualities that you have within you. Even though you may not necessarily do that, but it's naturally embedded inside of you. So the spirit of dominion is the spirit of governor or governorship, the spirit of controlling, the spirit of protecting, the spirit of making better something than the way you found it. Because that's who you are as a king, that's who you are as a queen. Even though most of you are afraid to jump into leadership positions, or where you actually are the one liable over a project, where you are the one actually who have to answer to questions. Some of you are not very comfortable with that. But truth be told, that's who you really are. A king and a queen, they govern, they rule, they control, they protect. Naturally. You do not have to go learn that in school. It's already inside of you. But you have to awaken it. You have to wake it up. Just because you're dormant, it doesn't mean that your qualities are also just going to show up, to show up themselves. And that is why we get to have moments like this, where we actually want you to be able to look deeply inside of you, to see, hey, what more is there? What am I about? Have time with yourself. Self-discover who you truly are, not the person that you have been taught to be. Because we have so many people who are molding you to be something you are not. If you have a self-esteem, if you have a self-esteem issues, if you do not love yourself, if you do not trust yourself, if you do not believe in yourself, and someone else says, hey, you know what? Actually, I think you may be good at this. Sometimes they might be accurate, but other times they might be wrong. And if you trust someone else's elevation of you, or someone else's definition of you, and God forbid they happen to be wrong about you, you'll be in trouble. You will absolutely going to be in trouble. And so with that in mind, the theme or the subject of today, I have asked you guys, is it okay for you to rule over others when you do not want to be ruled over yourself? That's one thing we really want to talk about. I repeat, is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourself do not want to be ruled over? If you do not understand what I'm talking about, think about it. But also you can ask me in real time. So then, tell me, why then is it, or why the desire to rule over Africa and African people? And what is your role into all of this? Now, what I just asked you may sound simple, but it's not as simple as it is. Remember, we've been saying that Africa and African people have been enslaved for so many centuries. But Africa and African people haven't always been slaves. It may sound so strange that in 2022, we still use these words like slavery. In 2022, think about it. The whole entire planet, they talk about democracy. They talk about people pursuing their true happiness, people doing what they want to do, people living a good life. But all is not that glitter, guys. There is an image that is projected to you, and then there is a reality that's there as well. That image that is projected to you, oftentimes some people call it a fantasy, an escape world, a distraction. And just because you have so many things that's keeping you busy, it doesn't mean that the reality will just simply vanish and go away. And that is why you brothers and sisters, you've got to be awake. It's important that you get to be awake. And part of you being awakened, or part of you being awoken, it is you knowing who you truly are. It is you having the capacity to self-govern, to know your boundaries, and to know where other people's boundaries begin. It is for you to be able to have that harmony with yourself and then harmony with others. And that doesn't come without any work. You have to actually put some work in it. Oftentimes, you will realize that right now as we speak, Africa is a battleground for everybody who wants something. I repeat, right now in 2022, Africa as a continent and African people, we are the battleground of the entire planet. Because the rest of the world, they want something that's only found in Africa. And if it's also somewhere else in their homeland, it's very small. While Africa has so much in abundance of that. So naturally, these people, they want to come and rule over you so they can be able to rule over your resources, your natural resources as well. But it gets worse. Even us, ourselves, we are actually the ones subjugating to our brothers and sisters this forced rulership. Hence me asking you, is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourself do not want to be ruled over? Don't worry, we'll take a practical example. Because I truly would love to know what you think about that. For instance, personally, I was born in Rwanda. Those of you guys who do not know Rwanda, it's right on east. It's actually officially it should be central, but we love to identify ourselves as East African because we are also a part of the East African community. Now, if you look at Rwanda on the African map, it's like literally almost at the center of Africa. Now, when you look at Rwanda as it is right now, Rwanda has been waging wars with neighbors. One of the countries that borders with Rwanda is the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I believe that the Democratic Republic of the Congo, or it's also known as DRC, it can swallow Rwanda at least 90 times. At least 90 times. if my memory serves me correctly. Now, tell me why a little teeny country as Rwanda, with very little natural resources, we don't have much. How can Rwanda be aggressive to the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it actually goes to the extent that it changes the regime? Hear me correctly. How can that be possible? It has happened more than once. How is it that Rwanda can exercise muscle and bully the rest of the nations nearby, even though not only they're bigger, not only they have bigger resources, even the population, there's something going on such that Rwanda, when you hear of the word Rwanda, you become afraid. Is it an illusion? Is it a facade? Or is it a reality? That's where I want you guys to be able to figure it out yourselves. So now you imagine we coming in your country, we cause a havoc, we cause instability, we cause insecurity in the name of we going after genocidaires, we going after people who have committed genocide 28 years ago, and so on. And the rest of the world also, even though right now the world is actually open, they have been going along with the narrative. Now you wonder if the world knows the truth, but if the world also is looking for the natural resources, what could be a better bride than Rwanda? They can come and use us. They're behind us, they're using us, they get what they want, and they turn a blind eye to everything else that we might do wrong. Consequently, now they've run. These people become hated by our neighbors. Why? Because we're causing wars. We've been causing wars. We're plundering the natural resources. If you guys go on search engines and you look how much expert Rwanda has in natural resources compared to the rest of the nations, to the rest of African nations, you are going to be amazed. If we have so little natural resources, but we are among the very top exporters of natural resources, what's wrong with that picture? Minding you, the entire planet is looking for the natural resources that is in Africa. When we have warfare, you can plunder, you can steal, you can appropriate other people's natural resources very easy, in a very easy way. Because you need now go through the bureaucracy and the verification and the control of showing where you got that, where you've got the natural resources from. Consequently, it becomes cheap to those invisible forces behind you. Now, all of that, you victimize the locals. Oftentimes they get killed for the sake of you plundering the natural resources, and for the sake of the invisible guy behind you who's enabling you to do that, for the sake of them getting what they want as well. So again, I would ask you, is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourself do not want to be ruled over? Is it really okay that in 2022 that takes place and nobody says anything? This is not a hypothetical conversation. This is a factual conversation. And as sensitive as this may be, and as endearing this conversation can be, it doesn't change the fact that it still is the truth. So why then the desire to rule over Africa and African people by all these other nations? I submit to you that not only Africa is strong and the African people are strong, but we have squashed, we have brought down our spirit so low, so low, that we have chosen to become slaves over everybody else around the planet. We have chosen to be given a cup of porridge in exchange for all natural resources that we have. We have chosen to just become slaves, where they feed us what they want to feed us, they clothe us what they want to clothe us, and they basically give us the very minimum possible in exchange to our riches and our natural resources. So you become captivated as a slave, and they do very minimum maintenance for you and your family at the exchange of for you to become like a donkey who have to work for the rest of these invisible people. How did we get there, guys? How did we get there? With all the natural resources that the continent have, with all the natural resources that your nations have, how have you become a slave? How have you allowed yourself to be ruled over? When you used to be a king and a queen, when you still are a king and a queen, who's behaving like a slave? It's infuriating to know that that's the lifestyle that most of us have chosen. We have chosen to become beggars when we have all the natural resources, when we have everything that we need. But we've chosen an easy way to just be beggars at the expense of everything else. So does that make us good steward of all the richness or all the riches that we have? Remember, the riches that we have, if you do not tap into it and make something out of it, nothing is going to happen. And when you see a foreigner comes in your homeland and makes something out of all that riches, and then you're like, you're taking our stuff, you are allowing that to happen. You just want a cup of porridge. They're looking for gold. They're looking for uranium. They're looking for coltan. They're looking for all kinds of minerals. But you yourself do not want to do your own due diligence to not only study what you have right underneath of your belly, of your homeland. You do not want to awaken your skill set to make something out of it. But you are happy spending a cup of porridge. You are happy working for that cup of porridge. And then you just mind the rest of your business. Young people, I am here to make you angry, to infuriate you, so that you can take back what is rightfully yours. How dare do you give up your inheritance to foreigners and become a slave to them while they are sitting in your own inheritance and becoming the kings and the queens? How dare do you exchange your inheritance for a cup of porridge? How dare? And then once you become, a miserable person, you remember what you have just given up. And then you're waging wars amongst your brothers and sisters. You want to take what is theirs. You are not willing to work hard for what is yours. But you want to be a trickster. You want to play dirty, take their own hard-earned living side or livelihood and make it yours. Imagine our brothers and sisters who are stuck in Ukraine. I keep on going there because it's a crisis. How many of those brothers and sisters have left deliberately their inheritance behind? because they wanted something, they wanted some glitter in Ukraine. How many of them have left their homeland because of fights, because of wars, never-ending wars, and they've chosen to abandon their homeland. They've chosen to abandon their inheritance for the sake of safety. How does your home ground, your home base, become so unlivable that you are willing to leave it? Who allows these weapons to come in? Isn't it you? You cannot have a war in your hometown if you decide that you don't want it. Remember, even the silence, you being silent about the things taking place in your hometown, you're giving permission to someone who's abusing your homeland, someone who's abusing your inheritance, to do so by you being silent. Which is how you find yourself fleeing your own homeland. But we also have some very sneaky brothers and sisters who are actually working for these people who wish to make you slaves and who are making you slaves. Remember that little cup of porridge. The quicker they can be able to get it, the quicker they can sell you out. So not only we have a task of figuring out, hey, how did we get here? But we also have now an obligation to reverse the course. We have an obligation to literally reverse the course. Some of you may call it 180 degree. You're going north, turn around all the way, go back south. You headed west, turn around all the way, go back east. That's what needs to happen, guys. And it's not gonna take care of by itself. You have to be a part of it willingly. Without any malice, without any manipulation. You have to understand and you have to see why it is important that you get to do that. My brother here just say, the good question, Freeman, but the simple answer is that way. How Israel, a teeny country, has been crushing all those neighbors, Arab countries, so long. Because like Rwanda, they are powerful Western countries financially and militarily supporting those criminals to work as tandem for them. Is the only way to get benefits indirectly for African soul. The interesting question should be why the instability in this region started in 1990. Interesting. Another brother just said, we are slaves of our minds. And that's so deplorable. Wait, you just reminded me of Bob Marley. Those of you guys who do not know a legend, Bob Marley, he laid it so down. If you guys go and Google Bob Marley or go on any of these social media and listen to the songs and go beyond the boom, 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 and listen to the lyrics. Listen to the messages that he was passing through. You guys are going to be mind blown. Especially when he talks about the mental slavery, like my brother has just said right there. It is a real fight, guys. Liberating your mind. If your mind is liberated. If your mind is liberated, then you get to do amazing work. But one of the tricky part of it, it is only you who have the key to your own liberation. Not me, not somebody else. You have to be able to decide to free your own mind. Because everything is done in your mind before it's actually put into action. We do everything twice. Everything that you do on this planet, you do it twice. You think about it first. You convince yourself about it. And once you convince yourself, you find the strength to actually put it into action. So if someone comes in and intoxicates your brain and feeds you some slavery garbage in your head, and then you become you get to believe in that and you subscribe to that, then you are finished. Which is why oftentimes there are times that I get to actually ask myself, how in the world did a conscious person grab a machete and decided to butcher another person to death that has not done anything to you? Even today, you can barely see where a cow, where an animal is being slaughtered. Why is it that today, even right now in 2022, you can still see African decapitating other Africans with a machete, with a knife, and completely just becoming like animals? What happens to that mind that you arrive to a point where you are willing to kill another brother and sister? However you justify the killing, when you arrive to that point, are you any different than an animal that actually hunts for some food, that kills other animals, including us human beings, for a meal? At what point do you realize that, hey, a human life is so precious, I shouldn't just grab a knife, I shouldn't just grab a machete and decapitate someone? No wonder some people think we are monsters, we are animals, because the behavior that sometimes we demonstrating are super questionable. I've seen some images, some gruesome images. Someone, I think it was like a couple people, they've put them into these big, I think they are like oil berry, what do you call those things? These oil berries. They're like berries, I think. Someone was literally put there. They chopped them up and they put him there. And I was looking at it. At first I was like, oh my God. You know how people send you all these images on WhatsApp? And I fell on that by accident. And I was like, my God, I mean, how can we be so cruel? You've got a bunch of military, and I think they may have burned the person too, but they stopped the video before that. But they were putting some sticks as in, preparing to burn that someone. And they were chilling out. They were actually happy about it. And you wonder, like, how do you become so animalistic to the point that you have no regards at all to another human life? Up to this very moment, I'm wondering what the right answer could be for that one. The DRC has that term leadership Africa way, yes, but when the Western countries want something for Africa, so they do everything and get it through Africans. Oh man, guys, it is so much to say about us as brothers and sisters ruling over others, but also the fact that we do not realize that the rest of the world is coming in our own hometown, rule over us in exchange for a cup of porridge. I believe last month I've given you guys an example. Again, I love using Rwanda as a guinea pig because I get to have so much more information from Rwanda much easily. And I would hope that you also scrutinize what's happening in your nation and see whether some of the things that we're talking about here are are applicable to you. So I was telling you about this agreement between the United States and Rwanda. It's called the Status Forces Agreement. This is where the United States can do anything they want to do in Rwanda. When I say can do anything they want to do, literally. And Rwanda has no saying in any of those things that's being done on the Rwandan soil right now. Now, I was questioning, like, who the hell has signed the documents? I mean, the people are there. The foreign minister, this guy who's, he's lost my respect so very much. It's not just him. From the president going down to the whole entire leadership, how do you sell your own nation? How do you sell your own country? And there are absolutely no consequences. But the more shameful thing is, for a nation that has fought so hard for freedom, like the United States, for example, I never get to understand how they are okay with some of these behaviors as well. Meaning, remember what I'm saying, what I started saying, that is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourself do not want to be ruled over? I'll give you a perfect example. The agreement that the United States has signed with Rwanda as regards to how they are going to collaborate militarily. It's like the United States gets everything that they want, and Rwanda gets nothing. And my question when I first read the letters, it was, if anywhere you see the United States, you have Rwanda, and you take the agreement, you take it to the Congress, would they dare sign it? And immediately, it was like a hell no. We did a little bit of a test. We've taken the document and changed everywhere that you could see the United States name and put Rwanda. And then everywhere that there was Rwanda, we put the United States. And then we randomly gave it to, we gave it to some college student. And literally everybody was like, hell no. They could see that there is, that the agreement, it's like you having an agreement with a child. And you're telling a child, hey, just sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. That's the kind of agreement the so-called genius people in Africa are signing today with some of these powerful nations. But when all things equal, if you flip or reverse those names, the other party will not dare sign, will not dare go into that sort of agreement. So why, on one side, you want to rule over others, but you will not wish the same thing you want to do to be done to yourself? Those agreements are actually online. If you guys want to take a peek at it, you can go online and you look for the United States Status Force Agreement with Rwanda. You are going to be shocked. This is only an agreement that's almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. It was signed in May 28th, 2020. That date has stuck in my head because when I first read it, I was like, no, you gotta be killing me. Like, who would, in the right mind would sign that? And that was signed with the blessings of the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, even though he never signed it. He was supposed to have been the one to sign those agreements. So the foreign affairs minister, his name is Biruta, Vincent. He went and signed the thing. And this guy, from what I hear, he's really smart, guys. And you wonder what happened to his brain. Has he been like smoking or something? I don't know. But the fact that there is no consequences at all to everything that's being done, you can see those results. You can see such agreements. Because if nobody's gonna come after you, if you have to respond to nobody, if you have to answer to nobody, if you can kill someone on the street and nobody asks you nothing, why would you actually, wouldn't you not do whatever it is that you want to do? This is so deplorable, guys. But the truth also be told, we become what we believe in as a people. Today, not one single Rwandan from within the country, not one single person, not one that I have heard criticizing those agreements, not one. And most of you will be very quick to say, you know the life we live in, we just can't do that. Which means you've chosen to become a slave to safeguard your lives than to maintain your kingships and your queenship and fight for it. You're selling your own inheritance for a pot of porridge. And then you become a slave while you're at it. And it's also sad that, very powerful nations like the United States, like United Kingdoms, like France, like Germany, like China, are taking advantage over these really young nations. Even themselves, they started from very humble beginning. But now that they've become more powerful, they openly having these agreements. And for me, I look at them as like you having an agreement with a toddler. And there are rules against children abuse. Some of these African nations, they are like children. So who has to actually advocate for these children? These big children in big human body? You got a fully blown person, but who's like a child mentally. And they are fighting to rule over you. And they are liable to nothing. They want to be liable to nothing. And you get to say kumbaya, 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 kumbaya. This is what we are fighting against today. So the spirit of dominion entails that you are going to be responsible for your own governorship, for your own leadership, for your own management of the resources under you. You are going to be accountable. And you are going to be the best that you can be. That's what dominion mandate entails. You cannot manage something you do not understand, something you do not appreciate, something you don't see any value over. In the minute you're taking charge or you want to take charge of public resources, and you have no accountability. For me, you've already stricken. For me, you're ready to go. I cannot stand you at that point. Because if you are a bad manager over public resources, why should you stay in that seat? Why should you stay? Whether you're a dictator or a warlord, at the same time, you're still a human being. You still bleed like everybody else. We have to be able to get together and get you out of that seat. That's what we're calling for. That's what we're helping for. That's what we want to do. We're not going to lie. That's what we need. And that's not going to come freely. Especially when so much blood was shed for that warlord to get on that seat. And then they spend years whitewashing their images. But truth be told, they still have blood on their hands. And you're allowing that to happen day in and day out. Foreigners, them, they look like, okay, we have amnesia. We haven't seen anything. But truth be told, these foreigners also, they have recorded everything. The difference with foreigners who want to rule over you, they collect evidence at the very beginning. And then they store evidence in a very safeguarded place. And when they no longer want to do business with you, then they bring up that evidence when you are acting like an animal. And then they very graciously give it to the people. And of course, you've been looking for evidence all along, or you've been taught, if there is no evidence, leave it alone. Someone comes in your house and they rape your own house. They rape everybody. And then they go and they tell you, you say anything about this, will come and will kill you. Like the way gangsters do things. We're talking about legitimizing a criminal to rule over you for decades. And you have no problem with it. Super shameful that the very nations whose premise is to seek liberty, justice for all, are actually committing this crime in the backdrop, are going after these criminals and enabling them militarily, financially, and also through exercise, all kinds of exercise. And again, you get to say nothing. So I keep on coming back. Is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourselves do not want to be ruled over? That's the question that I have for you guys today. Now, I know that most of you guys are super afraid when it comes to a topic like this. But I would love one of these days that you guys are brave enough to come and you talk about it openly in front of a camera. Why? Until you are publicly saying this isn't right, nothing is going to change. You have to, it has to bother you enough that you take action for that whatever it is that's bothering you to stop. Right now, a good example that I can give you, there's so much rape taking place in Rwanda. So much rape committed by the government officials, committed by the government soldiers, committed by the very people who are supposed to look after the interest of a regular citizen. These things are happening day in and day out. But it gets better. It is happening and they are so bold. They're actually taking videos of themselves doing it. And then they're using this video to blackmail people all over. And you think and you wonder, like, okay, who would actually allow this to happen day in and day out? And why would you not only become a victim, but also become, I don't know whether it's senseless, but it's like you become muted to such heinous activities taking place. At what point do you get to realize that, hey, this is not okay? Even if it means that my life it's terminated consequently, but this is not okay. Then those same people looking good in suits, criminals behind beautiful suits, legalizing all kinds of crazy, heinous activities. People dying openly. and business continues without any problem. That's the Rwanda that we have today, guys. And you have officials being praised through very, very, very complex machinery of advertisement. And everybody claps and everybody say, only if we can get this kind of leadership in our own country. It is so disgraceful for someone to follow something that they have no notion over, because it's being marketed to you in a such way that it's so glamour that the only impurities you can see is the little pieces that they have forgotten to whitewash. At what point do you wake up and smell the coffee? Or not the kind of good coffee that we have in Rwanda. We have an amazing coffee, guys. That's not what I'm talking about. It's an expression, smell the coffee, okay? For those of you guys, we're not selling coffee. I'm not talking about regular coffee. At what point do you wake up and say, enough is enough? I want peace. I want to be ruled over in peace. And I want to, I just want to have a decent life. The same way I want to leave others to their own instruments, to their own, well-being on it. Another person just said, we Africans want immediate benefits. Reason why we practice dictatorship over our citizens, sell our motherland, and everything considered wrong. The first solution here, negritude. My brother or my sister, whoever you are, I wish it could be on camera and explain people what negritude is. I studied this in college at first, and I was so clueless about it until I finished reading about it, and I was so mad. And those of you guys who don't know what negritude is, please go on Wiki, go on the Wikipedia, or even just type negritude online. The diction is gonna school you on that. And we make ourselves so cheap, guys. We make ourselves so cheap, or we have allowed ourselves to become so cheap that it's okay almost to violate you, and nobody cares. So again, I still want an answer, even though you guys haven't given me an answer. Is it okay for you to rule over others when you yourself do not want to be ruled over? I want to know from to you guys in chat room, especially, is it okay for you to rule over others when you know that you do not want to be ruled over? All things equal, the same thing you're doing, can it be done to you as well? Are you all right with it? Then also answer me the desire to rule over Africa and African people. Why would you allow an outsider to do those same thing you do not want to do to them? And lastly, what are you going to do about it? That's what I usually love ending all our programs. What is your role in all of this? And seriously speaking, I'm not joking. What is your role about all of this? You have the spirit of dominion deep inside of you, but it's dormant. What must you do first and foremost for you to move from being a slave back to being a king and a queen? What must you do for you to arrive there? Can you be bold enough that you can actually say, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. This is not what I see for me. This is not what I see for my family. This is not what I see for my community. And certainly, this is not what I see for my nation. And fight for it. We need to literally go back to history, and we need to check history of these other nations, and definitely check your own history as well. Because the lack of knowing our own history, the lack of knowing what's been happening, it makes us complacent. It makes us just chill and do nothing, even when you're being killed, even when you're being exterminated. It's like you're just a sitting duck. You're just waiting on whatever to come and just, sweep you away. And I said, let's not allow that to happen. There are so many signs of what's happening to you, what's happening to your community, what's happening to your nation. However, you're not brave enough to do something about it. You are too afraid to even save you, let alone save your brother, save your sister. So at what point are you going to say, you know what? At the very least, I'll go out trying, instead of just waiting on this monster to come and just eat me alive. This is our time, guys. This is our time to reverse the course. We are headed to a destruction. We're actually being distracted already. The destruction has been there now for a couple decades now. Now we've entered actually a cycle of destruction. We are being destroyed. We are being exterminated right now. And most of us are like, what can you do? What can I do? There is plenty that can be done. But you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Which is why I keep on calling upon all of you. Do not expect the changes to happen by itself. If you just chill and you're looking for changes, you will get exactly the kind of change you get when you chill. If you're looking for something you've never had, you must do something you've never done before to get it. Wisdom had it, but that's the process. If you want to free yourself, you gotta fight for your freedom. If you want to remain a slave, keep on doing what you're doing today. It's working beautifully so far. But me and my own, we say enough is enough. And that's why I'm not ashamed to publicly say, hell no, we're not going to allow that to happen. We know that it can upset so many others who are actually ruling over you, ruling over us. So what? There are 2 dates that I've never had any control over. My birthday and my departure date. I cannot negotiate my way on any of those 2 dates. And neither can you. But what's happening in between those 2 days, I personally have full control over it. And so do you. You can decide what happens between those 2 dates yourself. You can change and control those changes yourself. That's something that you have a whole control over, a full control over, I may even add. Now, are you aware that that is one of the capacity that you hold right now as we speak? And if you already know that that's possible, what are you doing to change course of something you do not like about your life, something you do not like about your family, something you do not like about your nation that's taking place today, especially that's heading you to a destruction? Are you going to sacrifice your whole entire family for extermination, knowing what's coming, knowing who's doing what. All because you say, I just want to live another day. Let me be quiet. I say no. I say hell no. I would rather enjoy 2 days than living 20 years as a slave. I would rather enjoy 2-3 days than being a slave for 20 years. We have so much potential, but you cannot get your potential out there as a slave. If you want to live as a slave, you're forfeiting life. You are literally forfeiting life. And you are also forfeiting your royalship, your royalty. And that is not okay, guys. It's literally not okay. No matter what you convince yourself to be doing, no matter how you justify your situation, there are certain things that it is just not okay. Do not sell yourself short, and do not sell out your own people. Fight for what is right. Even if you live a short life, that will be a gift to the rest of the people behind you. So choose wisely today. Because if you don't make the right choices, someone else is going to make that choice for you. That's why it's so hard to be a grown-up, guys. That's why most of you hate taking responsibility. Because it puts you in a position where you cannot be comfortable. It puts you in a position where you might find yourself abandoning some of the things that you're doing today or you used to do. But it's okay if the result is not only good for you, but good for the entire collective of your community. And that is why today I've decided I will fight publicly against anyone who is abusing our people, against anyone who's thieving, who's stealing our inheritance. Because it's not okay. Whether you are dressed nicely with a nice suit, but you're a thief, you are still a thief, dressing nicely. Whether you're talking smooth and everybody loves you, but you are killing our brothers and sisters, you still are a killer. So I'm not too impressed of how you look if your character is far from the right thing, the right person you should be. It really does not impress me at all. If you're a bystander and your people are dying, are being killed, and you do nothing about it because you want to live another day, shame on you. But the same thing that's happening, it will be knocking on your door not so long from now. And at that point, I'm wondering whether you are going to take any action or you are just going to surrender and be like, come and take me home as well. So let me stop lecturing, guys. This seems like it became a lecture instead of a question. But I really feel very passionate about seeing my brothers and sisters being free for real. I'm Freeman right now. I am really Freeman. It's a struggle, but it's what I have chosen. Being free is not free. I should add to you guys. There's so much that goes along with that. But with what I know today, especially about me as Freeman, and about who I am as a person, I'm actually grateful. Because now I cannot come in and excuse my mishap for anything. It is on me. It's on me. I'm not going to put it on you when I know that I've came short. It takes a mature mind for you to actually embrace both your good, your bad, and the ugly. You being able to take it out and say, this is all mine. And I plead with you guys to assume your own responsibilities. Assume it all. Assume it all. Be right at any given time. Do not do what is horrible to other people, especially when you do not want that to be done to you. Do not rule over other people, and when things are flipped and you do not want the same thing done to you. And so advocate and fight for the right to life. The same kind of life you wish to have yourself. That is not so much to ask, guys. We only get a few years to live on this planet. Why won't you maximize good lives that you have to live here on this planet before you depart? So, and I will end it there, guys, because there's so much to say about this topic, but I want to let you know that whatever it is that you allow in your life will always stay, and you become what you allow in your life. And everyone who surrounds you also, and they subscribe to your lifestyle, that kind of lifestyle becomes their lives as well. So choose yourself wisely today. Who do you want to be? What do you want to embrace in your life? What do you want for your family? What do you want for your communities? Are you willing to fight for it? No matter the cost, are you willing to fight for it? As for me and my own, I will go down fighting for it. Because, like I said, I would rather live a short life fulfilled than living forever as a slave. And that's where I'm going to end that. Please send us some feedbacks over to what you think about this topic. I know this is one of those topics that you guys hate to talk about it, but here it is for this reason why I'm so grateful to the networks that actually allow us an opportunity or give us the opportunity to communicate, being able to talk about some of these things of which are uncomfortable. They are there. They are ours. And so let's crack the pot. Let's talk about it. Let's be bold. Speak your mind without being ashamed about nothing. As we always do it here, everything we do it in the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And these are the benchmarks that we're expecting that you use everything that you see here. But also flip the coin and make sure that those are the same benchmarks that you also measure yourself with. So with that in mind, guys, thank you so much. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you think, like real talk. It doesn't have to be public because our email comes in, as private. Get in touch with us. Hit us up if you want. We'll be glad to talk to you. But also be sure to come to subscribe to our channel. We're not just talking about these public channels. We're talking about the private kind so that you can actually link up with the people behind the scene, guys. Because we have so much work taking place behind the scene, and we would love for you to come and be a part of that. Come and support us, guys. And if you also love this program, help us to broadcast it, to distribute it even further. There's so much need that we have, and we would love to link up with you. And with that in mind, guys, I am Freeman Singirankabo with AfriDominion page. Our website again is www.afridominion.com. Our main email is info@afridominion.com. And until we get to see you again, I am Freeman Singirankabo, and with pleasure and humble, I greet you guys and I wish you a super fantastic day. Until tomorrow, be blessed. See you guys.